G'day champions, it's Stuart Stone here from Health and Fitness Over 40, and I've been here in Vancouver, Canada just for a couple of hours for an exciting adventure that we're going to talk about in Financial Freedom Over 40. First impressions, gorgeous little picturesque spot that we're at here. Over my shoulder here is Stanley Park that we're going to check out tomorrow morning, and we'll do you a video from there explaining what we're doing here in Canada. But today, just very quickly, we're going to talk about one of the things I noticed on the train on my way in from the airport that has to do with health, and where I think the Canadians have gotten ahead of us Aussies, Kiwis, and even our friends in the USA. So let's go check it out. So this poster was in the train carriage above the window up against the ceiling sort of thing. And what I found really interesting, it's an ad saying, "Say nah, open up and think twice about antibiotics." So it's put out by the group antibioticwise.ca. But it's this little area in the red circle that I want to focus on next today. Do bugs need drugs? Now, we've known the answer to this question for a long time, but it's only being questioned and brought to the attention of the public in Canada. So let's find out a little bit more and see where mainstream medicine is missing the boat. Now, it's been a little while since we've deep dived into the research to see exactly what's going on, but I tell you what, my logical mind loves it, your logical mind loves it, and the analytical part of being a guy absolutely loves it. So let's get some facts behind some statements here. So this graphic comes from the health department in Victoria, Australia. So this is a government health website, and we'll look at the 2 points marked with the arrowheads. Number 1, antibiotic resistance is a serious public health problem, and good personal hygiene can minimize the spread of these bacteria in the community. Now, all of these points about do bugs need drugs, it's common knowledge, it's on the government websites. My question becomes, why the heck isn't this being made public knowledge and common knowledge? So let's look a bit deeper. From the same website, some bacteria have developed resistance to antibiotics that were once commonly used to treat them. Some bacteria have become resistant to almost all of the easily available antibiotics. So how does that work? When you take antibiotics to kill a bacterial infection, most people stop taking antibiotics when they feel better. But either way, here's the inherent problem. Let's say that you take a course of antibiotics for what's recommended 7 days, you take them for 4, and you kill off about 80% of the bacteria that are causing or contributing to your symptoms. So as a result of killing off that bacteria, your body is now relatively stronger, you beauty, you feel better, you chuck the antibiotics in the bin, or even if you follow that full course of antibiotics to completion, again, you're feeling better, but you haven't killed off every single one of those bacteria. In fact, on a good day, you've probably killed off about 80%. So what about the other 20%? Well, they've now developed a resistance to that bacteria. In other words, when they become more prevalent, when your body's run down and they multiply naturally by feasting off the toxicity in your system, which is a great food supply to bacteria, well, you're going to hit them hard with the antibiotics, and they've already built up that immunity, that resistance, and they're going to go, screw you to those antibiotics, they're no longer effective. So that's how this problem occurs. It's classic Darwinian survival of the fittest, or the other principle, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It applies to all living things. So that bacteria, you hit them with antibiotics and 80% die off, but the other 20% becomes stronger. You multiply that a few times, you're now going to have bacteria that when you feed them antibiotics, they're going to look at it, laugh and go, fuck you, way too easy, we've dealt with this. And that's when you get these MRSA, golden staph, and other bacteria that just are totally resistant to most forms of antibiotics. So how the heck do you treat them? And more importantly, we need to take responsibility as human beings and go, holy shit, we actually created these things. It's Darwinian evolution at work. It's brilliant, it's brutal, but we need to find a better way of dealing with it. So let's find out how we do that. So finally, somewhere that looks at the prevention game and the lifestyle aspects of disease. Now, Harvard Medical School is stating the bleeding obvious, but we're going to go a bit deeper in a second. But let's look at things on a surface level. Don't smoke. No shit, Sherlock. You want to improve your health? Don't smoke. But don't smoke. Eat a diet high in fruits and vegetables. Now, you want a lot of fiber, good for gut health. You want a lot of micronutrients. Again, great for your immunity, great for your health. And then fruit and vegetables. More fruit and vegetables means less crap on your plate. So it's an exclusion diet by eating more good stuff. And that's just barely scratching the surface, but you get the idea. Exercise regularly. Keep yourself fit. But also, as importantly, when you exercise, you're stimulating your lymphatic system, which is your body's hoover that goes around sucking up and eliminating toxicity. In other words, it pumps blood and lymph back into your liver where it can break down and get rid of crap and rubbish, as well as stimulating your immune system to create an immune response if there's any underlying infection and inflammation in your system. Maintain a healthy weight. Look, this is a no-brainer. If you're carrying excess weight, simplest way to improve your health, lose some excess weight. We've got so many videos on this. It's not funny. Check out our whole series on how to lose the excess belly fat. If you drink alcohol, drink only in moderation. You know what? If they were totally upfront and honest here, they'd say get rid of alcohol altogether. I'm not going to do it. I'm a guy. You're a guy. Let's drink smart as opposed to drinking to excess. Get enough sleep. That's the time your body repairs and does all the work in the background. That's your reboot time or your down system if we're thinking as a computer. Guys, get enough rest, get enough sleep. It varies from person to person, but if we just look at testosterone as an obvious one, 5.5 hours sleep will reduce your testosterone levels by 20% compared to if you get 8.5 hours sleep. Again, a no-brainer. Get on it. Don't make excuses. Just factor it into your lifestyle. Then take steps to avoid infection. In other words, just take care of basic cleanliness and sanitation. Wash your hands, cook your food properly, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. And try to minimize stress. What the heck does that mean? Factor into your life ways of reducing stress, whether that's exercise, whether that's going and having some downtime for you, whether it is meditation. You take your pick, and we're going to touch more on this in future videos. But why is it important? Because when stress levels go up, cortisol levels go up, and that hormone actually naturally reduces your immunity. It's a stress hormone. So that's it in a nutshell. Now let's look at the parts that Harvard didn't talk about that gives you an edge when it comes to stimulating immunity. See guys, there's gold in here for our logical minds with practical steps. That's what we need. This isn't the fluff, this is practical steps to sort your health out. Okay, so here is the hidden gold nugget. I've left it into well over 5 minutes into this video so that only you guys who are serious about your health are going to watch this far. So drjockers.com, check it out. This is the article on intermittent fasting. So at the top of this slide is a link. Go and type it into your computer. Normally I'd put these links below the video in the description, but you know what guys, as men we've got to start taking responsibility for our health and well-being. So if you can't be bothered to type it into your browser window, well, you miss out. Okay, it's about responsibility, it's about taking action for ourselves. But what are we talking here? We're talking about intermittent fasting, what it does for the body. You can check out my other videos in the playlists on intermittent fasting. I've done a 3.5-day fast, I've done a 5-day fast. You don't need to go that extreme. You can do a 24-hour fast twice a week, and guess what guys? No, you will not lose muscle mass, but you will burn fat. So that takes care of one of the things in the Harvard study where they talk about losing excess weight and maintaining a healthy body weight. But let's dive deeper and unpack the concept of intermittent fasting. Now again guys, I aim to do a 40-hour fast once a week. In all honesty, I probably do it between 2 and 3 times a month, and then I tend to eat in a 16/8 window. In other words, I fast for 16 hours a day. That means I have dinner the night before, and I eat my first meal of the day around about midday to 2 p.m. and then usually finish my evening meal by 8 p.m. but at a stretch by 10 p.m. I've finished eating for the day. So I'm getting a regular short-term fast in every day. great for the immune system, as we're about to find out. But when we look at energy conservation in the body has a certain amount of available energy that it diverts into important functions such as digestion, physical movement, immunity. There's that key word we're talking about in this video. Cognition means thinking. Okay, you know that, I know that, but we're just spelling it out for the people that don't know. The digestive process diverts huge amounts of blood and is considered energy expensive. In fact, when you look on a day-by-day basis as to what consumes more energy from the body, in the short term it's sex, but over a 24-hour period, digestion by far consumes the most energy in the body. So fasting frees white blood cells up to destroy dormant infections and other problematic areas in the body. So if you've got chronic infection or chronic inflammation in your body, hey, the first step, no-brainer approach to improving your health, go on a short-term fast. And as you get into it and realize that difference between real hunger and psychological hunger, you're going to make this part of your arsenal for awesome health. But let's look a bit deeper. So how does intermittent fasting work? When we look at autoimmunity, and when you look at a lot of chronic diseases like lupus being the most obvious one, diabetes tends to fall into this category as well, as in type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome. Start looking at autoimmunity. Rheumatoid arthritis is another one. So these are inflammatory conditions, or as a result of excess inflammation in the body sees it as a non-specific infection and starts to attack its own tissues. So again, what does intermittent fasting do? It reduces the hyperinflammatory process in the body and so allows for a more normalized immune function. Now, just to make something clear here, guys, I've watched a few videos where they talk, oh, maybe you don't want to boost your immunity, meaning more immunity. So they're saying if you increase your immunity, as in your immune cell function, well, that can be counterproductive. When we actually apply a common sense approach to boosting immunity, what we're really talking about is allowing your body to optimize its function. So that doesn't mean some is good, more is better, and so much more is best. We're not talking about that at all. We're talking about taking enough irritants out of the equation so your body can restore a normal balance, which in science we call homeostasis, but it allows your body to return to a normal state. If you're run down and sick, your body is thrown out of homeostasis, it's out of balance. We're just giving it, we're taking away some of the stimulus so that it can get back to balance. That's part of the function of intermittent fasting. And if you think you're going to starve, well, just grab onto a bit of those love handles you got around your belly. That fat there is more than enough to feed you for the next 24, 48 hours. So don't stress out that you're going to starve. It's not going to happen until you've been fasting for between 9 and 11 days. And even then, if you keep your electrolytes up, you can fast for a much longer period. But that's not the purpose of this video. We're looking at intermittent fasting, meaning short-term fasting at 24 to 40 hours typically. So like we said in the last slide, don't get so literal, guys, thinking that boost means more. It means more balance. So intermittent fasting reduces free radical damage. Why? Because you're not getting that overstimulus in your body, and by taking digestion out of the equation, your body can kick back and actually create a better immune response and go around and hoover up and clean up the damaged cells and re-energize your system, get rid of the rubbish. It's just like a spring clean for your body. Okay, so it regulates inflammatory conditions in the body and starves off cancer cell formation. Why do they make a statement like that? How does that work? Well, cancer cells rely on sugar for their nutrition primarily. So if you're taking sugar out of the equation, you're weakening cancer cells, and when you do your intermittent fast, after about 12 to 16 hours of fasting, especially if you throw a high intensity interval training working out in there to burn off the excess sugar in your system, well, guess what? Those cancer cells now don't have any food. But you say, but wait, Stu, you know, my brain, it requires glucose to function. In fact, that's its only fuel. What happens to my cognitive function? What happens to my brain? Well, your brain's pretty smart. In fact, it uses approximately 27% of your energy stores in your body, even if you're a bit of a dum-dum. So we're going to undumb ourselves down right now and go, well, what happens? What's the physiology behind this? Well, your brain is super smart. It's not going to starve you, even if you don't eat for 9 to 11 days. It's not going to chew up your muscle stores and everything else in your body. In fact, your liver, super powerful organ in the body, it has enzymes in it which take fat and under a process called gluconeogenesis. So genesis meaning creation of, neo meaning new, gluco meaning glucose or sugar. Your body is able to take fat and regenerate glucose. Why doesn't it do it for cancer cells? Because they don't have the power to stimulate the liver to do that. Your brain does through various neurological pathways. So how cool is your body? Instead of trying to manipulate our body to make us healthier artificially, how about we step back and get out of our own way and allow our body to function normally? That's what fasting does. It's a reset for your body. So, in other words, the animal in this case asks the humans when we're ill. We're the only species that seems to eat more when we're sick. You look at any animal in the animal kingdom. In fact, my cat, whenever she was crook, she'd disappear usually into my wardrobe for some weird reason, but she'd find somewhere warm and quiet, curl up in my jumpers, and we wouldn't see her for a couple of days. And then when she was better, she'd pop her head out and say, "Hey, I'm here, I'm back, and I'm ready to eat." That's what animals do in the wild. They stop eating when they're sick. They allow their body to burn off the rubbish and detoxify. What do us humans do? We over medicate and suppress our systems. How about we take a lesson from nature? And when we're crook, when we're feeling ill, when we're run down, we step back, get some rest, eat less, allow the body to use its inborn energy stores to do a cleanup campaign and get rid of the rubbish. So again, let's look further into this process. As logical, powerful, analytical men, if you want to check out the research, here it all is here. Again, I'm not going to put the links in the description below. We're men, we take action, we're proactive. Look up this research for yourself, check out the original articles, and just to give you a taster session, I'm going to share with you a bit more research so that this can put this message to bed in your brain as to how important and how useful intermittent fasting is for your health and your fitness and your growth hormone and your overall health, well-being, longevity, and your ability to look and feel younger. So here we go. I was only planning for this video to be 5 to 8 minutes, and we're already starting to rack up 18 minutes on the clock. So how's that for over delivering? Here's your bonus piece of research straight off the Medline searches. Prolonged fasting reduces IGF-1. That's your stuff that increases your risk of various cancers as well as a bunch of other diseases. But it promotes hematopoietic stem cell based regeneration and reverse immunosuppression. What the heck does that mean? Well, when we look at our stem cells in our body, these are the cells that can transform into any other cell form in the body. So in other words, what do stem cells do? They allow your body to regenerate and repair. So fasting stimulates tissue repair. That's really all you need to take away from this. And reverse immunosuppression. In other words, if your immune system is run down and not working properly, guess what? All you need to do, or what you need to do, is go on a fast and your body will naturally increase its immune function. So let's put it all together in summary. So we've just had just under 20 minutes of me putting the doctor hat on and going through the research. And like I said, you guys love it. You love having real world practical information that is backed up by the scientific research. But now we're going to segue just very briefly and we're going to take a little step into common sense corner. So why do we get all of these positive functions and improvements when we fast? And so many times you guys have asked me, and it makes perfect sense. When we have less fuel coming into our body, wouldn't we be more lethargic? Wouldn't our function drop off? And it's a fair question, and it makes a lot of sense in theory, except for when we take a step down evolution lane and wind the clock back about 3,000 to 10,000 years. So think about it. We're hunter-gatherers, we're hunters, we're working in small communities, and as a guy or as a small group of guys, we go out hunting each day. Now, think this through. What happens if we don't catch anything on the first day? We start to get hungry. What if we then multiply that process by 2, 3, 4 days? We're getting significantly hungry. Now, logic says, oh yeah, we'd probably start to chew up and burn up muscle to keep our brain and heart going and keep us functional. But when you think about, hang on a second, if I chew up my muscle, how am I going to be able to chase down that animal and kill it as a food source? So it's not what your body does. Our body is amazing from an evolutionary standpoint, where it says, you know what, we're going to burn fat because fat is a far more efficient fuel, but we're going to preserve muscle. In fact, we're going to make ourselves more efficient and more effective to be able to chase down that animal. Also, our spatial awareness is going to improve. This is one of our unique advantages as males, in that we're going to be able to become even better hunters. Why? Because our life and our survival depends on it. Our cognitive function, in other words, our ability to strategize, to think, to track the movements of the animal, and to run it down and kill it for our food source to feed ourselves and our families and our whole community, we are going to need to be better, because otherwise we're going to die off. So that's the power of fasting. It actually makes us better. And from my own personal standpoint, when I do a 40-hour fast, number one, I don't have to think about cooking. What I get to do is I get to put my head down, I get to do some cool exercise to get stronger and strip the fat off my body. But even more importantly, I get to make awesome videos like this for you guys. Why? Because I get to put my head down, focus on what I'm doing, and churn out some top-notch work. In fact, here's a little inside secret, guys. I'm in the middle of a 40-hour fast right now, producing these gold gems for you right now. We're racking up over 20 minutes here. That's what you call over-delivering. That's what you call truth bombs, gold nuggets. And guys, here's to your awesomeness. Boom! I'm out.
And for more videos like this one, you know what to do by now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash the like button, leave a comment welcoming me to Canada, and also go down into the description box below the video, give our Facebook page a like, and we'll give you more videos like this one very soon. Have an awesome day.